this is Cindy from Stamped with Aloha. Today I'm going to share with you how to create an exploding gift box card. So let's get started. Alright, the first thing that you'll need is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to take this and fold this in half, and then I will use a bone folder to give it a nice flat fold. Now on the front panel here, we're going to feature our Tis The Season Designer Series paper. So I've been using this paper in a lot of projects. It's double-sided, it comes in 6x6 sheets, and it has all these fun, colorful holiday patterns. This is the piece of Designer Series paper we'll be using. This has been cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to flip this over and add my adhesive to the back, and then I'm going to glue this onto the front of my white card base. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is take a 3" by 4" piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and stamp a message from the gift wrapped stamp set. I'll be stamping with this image here that says wrapped especially for you. I'll be using my black Memento ink for that, and let me ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp that right in the center. Next, I'm going to take my real red ink pad and I'm going to ink it up with this little sparkle image here. And I'm just going to add a little sparkle here and a little sparkle here. Okay, then we're going to take this and flip this over. We're going to add some adhesive to the back. And then I'm going to mount this to a piece of our brass foil cardstock. Okay. And then I'm going to flip this piece over, add some adhesive to the back, and I'm going to mount this onto the front of the card. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open up the card, and I'm going to add my sentiment first. So I'll be using a Memento pad, and with my black ink, I'm going to stamp up in the top corner here, a very Merry Christmas. And then I'm going to use my real red ink pad again, and then I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to just add those little sparkles on each side of this word. Okay, now we're ready to do the inside of the card. So I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Now this cardstock is 3 1/4" by 9 inches. I went ahead and I've scored this at 2 1/4, 4 1/2, and 6 3/4. So I've made these 4 panels that when you fold them up should look like this. All right, so what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna take the Tis The Season Designer Series paper. I've cut this into 2 by 3" rectangles. So I'm gonna take each one of these rectangles and glue them onto this cardstock strip. All right, so now we're ready to adhere this to the inside of the card. So we only want to put adhesive on this rectangle here and on this rectangle here. We don't want to have any adhesive behind this section because this is a section that's going to pop out when we open the card. So I'm going to fold this back. I'm going to use my liquid glue. I'm going to just add some liquid glue to this first flap here. And then I'm going to carefully press this so that it lines up exactly along the edge of the card. Okay, so I'm going to just press that down for a minute, let that dry, and then while that's drying, I'm going to flip over this section here, which is the last rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive there, and then I'm going to lift it up, and again, just line it up so it's right along the edge and right along the bottom edge of the card like so. Okay, so we'll just let that dry for a minute, and while that's drying, let's go ahead and work on our bows. So I have a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and just show you what the bows look like. So we have a bow that looks like this that we'll be using. This one has like a little candy cane stripe to it. And then we also have this bow here. Now the fun thing about this particular bow here is you have a lot of versatility with it. So I took a Stampin' Blends marker, and then I went ahead and I colored in with this inside section of the bow. And when it's all colored in, your bow is going to look like that, okay? And then we'll also be using a red bow, so I'll be stamping on a scrap of red. And then for this particular bow, I'm going to be using the plaid bow that looks like this. So then when you're ready to punch this out, you just take your gift bow builder punch and you just slide it in there like so, and then you punch it out. Okay. Now this punch does come with this extra little piece. So if you were to make just a plain bow like this, then you can take that little extra piece and it just creates a little knot. Let me lift this up so that you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so there's a lot of versatility with this punch, and I don't know, I love punch art, so I've done a lot of really fun things with this punch that I'll be showing you in some more videos to come. Okay, so now we're ready to put the bows on the gifts. So I've got all my bows punched out and ready to go. So I'm gonna grab some mini glue dots, and the first bow we're gonna use is this one here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a mini glue dot, and then when I stick this on, I wanna make sure that it's right at the top edge of the cardstock, but it's not sticking over the side of the card, okay? All right, and then we're gonna grab a plaid bow, like this one here. We'll add a glue dot to that one as well, and then I'm going to just line this up right next to that one. Now for the poinsettia one here, we're gonna do a variety and use the striped bow, so that will give the opportunity for you to feature each one of those different types of bows. And then because there's just 3 patterns, I'm gonna go ahead and just make this one look a little bit different. This is the same bow that I used over here, but I just did it in red cardstock. So now we have our 4 bows, and so the inside of the card is done. So then we're going to close the card, and you'll see that those bows perfectly fit inside of here and are ready to be a fun surprise when the recipient opens this card. All right, so this front looks kind of plain, and that's because this is actually designed to be a hidden message. So let me show you how we're gonna create a belly band to go around this card with one more gift on the front of it. All right, so for that, we're going to use a strip of real red cardstock. This is 2 inches by 9.5 inches. I'm gonna lay this underneath the card. Then I'm gonna take, and I'm just going to wrap it around the right side of the card, and I'm going to wrap the belly band around the left side of the card. So you'll see there's just about a 1-inch overlap between the 2 pieces. Okay, so once I kind of press it on there like so, I'm gonna open this up, and then I'm going to add a little tiny bit of our brand new Stampin Seal Plus just to the edge here. So I'll put just like a little double strip like so. This works great for doing belly bands and boxes. Okay, so I'm gonna put this around, and then I'm gonna wrap that around, and you can, because I just put the 2 strips, I made sure that I didn't put adhesive over here so this wouldn't stick on the front of the card. So now we have a belly band that you can move very easily. It's covering up that sentiment, and now we wanna make a focal point on the front. So I've used a die from the Hippo and Friends dies. This is a really great die set. Let me show it to you. So although it has these cute little images to go with the Hippo Happiness stamp set, this has an amazing dies in it, so you can make all these wonderful shapes. So I absolutely love this one, and I've done some fun things with this one as well. I'm gonna go ahead and add some dimensionals right on the strip. And then I'm gonna take my bow with the stitching side up, and I'm going to adhere this right to the front like that. All right, now we need a bow on the front. So I've created one other package here. This is a 2x3 piece of cardstock. I'm gonna use the plaid wool for this. So let me grab my glue dots. I'm going to add that right there like that. Okay. Now for this one, since it's on the front, I want to give it some dimension. So I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back. So we're almost done. I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do with this stamp set. So I have a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock. Now in the stamp set, it has this really cute, tiny little tag. And then it also has this little stamp as well that has some holly on there. So I'm going to stamp that. Then I'm going to use a Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm going to go ahead and color that in with some green ink. Okay. And then I'm going to take and punch it out, so you can see that that punch lines up all the way down here like so. So I'm going to punch it out. And then I'm going to use some red rhinestones, I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to add the rhinestones to this little tag. Okay, and then I'll put a little mini glue dot on the back of the tag, and then I'm going to just tuck this right underneath the bow like so. Isn't that cute? Okay, this card is almost done. The last thing that I'm going to do is add a little bit of dimension to the center of this bow. So I have a second bow that I've punched out and stamped, and so I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to cut out that knot of the bow. So I'll just follow the stamped image. Okay, and so then I just have this tiny little knot. So because it's small, I'm going to be using one of our mini dimensionals, and then I'm going to flip this over. I'll add a little mini dimensional to the back, peel off the backing, and we'll add that right there to the center. So now you can see that that gives it some nice dimension. So this is the finished card. So again, let me show you how it works. We're going to slide off the belly band. You open it up, it says a very Merry Christmas, and it reveals all these pretty packages all wrapped up ready for Christmas. Now, I want to show you that this set is not just for Christmas. I used this exact same designer series paper, but I flipped it over and used just some of the green images, some of the more plain images that weren't real Christmassy, and I created a birthday card. So let's take a look at that. So here's the birthday card. So first of all, the package on the front was created with a pencil eraser, where I just dipped a pencil eraser to make polka dots. And then the stamp set here is from the Happiest of Birthdays. So I combined a few of the sentiments from this stamp set to go in this card. You can see that I just used a striped green bow, and this is one of the patterns from the Tis The Season. And then when you slide the band off, it says, "Happy birthday, a little bit late." Okay, sometimes I am a little late with birthday cards, so I do need cards like this. So inside this card, you see all the pretty packages all decorated in green, and then I did all green bows, and I just combined a couple different shades of our green cardstock. And then you can notice up here, I put "It's your day, enjoy it," and then I added the word "again." So this was created by customizing my own word by just using the letters that come in the Make a Difference stamp set. Well, thanks so much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this card. I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Until then, aloha.